Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox coming to you today with a review for Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 16, Episode 7. So let's get to it, shall we? I say I'm gonna take some time off, y'all.
All the cashiers, they was like, somebody stole her truck. It's like you can hear it all throughout the store.
This Rox coming to you today with a review for Love and Marriage Detroit, Love and Marriage Huntsville, our book 4, Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's get to it, shall we? Guys, so the show opens. It's weird because the way that they edited this episode, I don't know if any of you guys noticed it, but they just had a whole bunch of little clips that they put together. You probably didn't notice it because you're not taking notes, but I noticed it. It was just a bunch of little clips and nobody really had a full segment. I mean, they did have some full segments, but there were way more little clips of just like B tape, like B-roll footage. But just an observation. Anyway, starting with Britt. So we see Britt with her husband at the car dealership. She wants to get another car. She said that she told her husband that she has to have a new car every 2 years. I used to think that same way when I was younger. I was just like, I used to lease my cars in LA because I didn't have, you don't drive that far in LA, so I could keep the mileage down, and I just was like, oh, I'm just gonna have a new car every 2 years, lease a car, don't have to worry about a down payment, keep these mileage low, and then just get another one. So I could understand her way of thinking. Anyway, but I wasn't getting a $500,000 car every other year, so that's the difference. At least that's what Britt would like us to think anyway. She's there with her husband. And she says that you can only keep a bad bitch down for so long. Day's been rough and tough. But yeah, she's going to be just fine, everybody. Anyways, it feels like her husband is there. I think that the reason why we kind of find him strange is because it feels like the husband is just there to kind of be like a line feeder. He never really seems like he's really that much interested or invested in anything that she's saying. It almost feels like he just says the things that he says so that she can say what she really wants to say. Okay, so this seemed no different, except this time she's not harping on and on about Kenya because we've gotten rid of Kenya now. So now her problem is with Angela. Why, you ask? Oh, because Angela challenged her at the lunch that they had the other day. She was like, I thought that we were all going there, for peace and, that we were going to have a good time. But here come Angela, okay, telling her that she was putting 20 on 20 when she was talking about losing her insurance agent license. Okay, so now she's saying that she believes that the rumor is that Angela and Charles had a baby on Angela and that she's aware of it. And so that's why Britt doesn't even understand why Angela has so much free time to worry about what she has going on in her life. I was just like, really, Britt? Angela was not worrying about what's going on in your life. Angela was just saying, I don't think that's correct. You'll be fine with your license. But, Britt didn't like the fact that Angela was raining on her pity parade. Everybody already said Kenya was tripping. What else do you want from them? So yes, Britt is going to continue to get on our nerves this season. Now she's just moved on to Angela. And speaking of Angela, we can talk about Angela having the ladies over to her house, okay? And this is the last time I'm speaking on it. I know that it is like the running joke now that Angela is supposed to be younger than Portia. I absolutely do not believe that. I know that that's what she's saying, but I don't know if she's saying that just kind of in a tongue-in-cheek, sarcastic, facetious, like kind of just teasing everybody because everybody seems to want to know how old she is. And so is that why she's saying that she's younger when she really isn't? 39 seems like it is really pushing it. She just does not look 30. If she is 39... girl, you look like you look like a grown 39, like a for real grown one. Okay, I mean, she doesn't look bad. She looks great. She's a good looking girl, but No, 39. I wasn't really going for 39. Okay. But anyway, getting back to it. So, like I said, Drew is over there. You know, they're Chicago girls. It was funny when she has her in there. She has her when she sits down. She tells Drew, "Girl, I was talking to Michael the other day, and Michael Jordan said that he don't have a cousin named Drew Sidora." And Drew was just like, "Oh, he just was maybe just making a joke." I mean, but it is Jordan. I was just like, I mean, is that the only reason why you guys would be related? Should we say that you're related to all the other Jordans out there as well? Drew, please be quiet. That's why we call Drew a liar. Sometimes we just don't know if she's serious or not. Was she serious? But what a flex that Angela was able to talk to Michael Jordan, right? I mean, Charles Oakley played at the time that Michael Jordan was playing. They weren't teammates at any time, I don't believe, but they did play, so that's probably why. You know, maybe Drew forgot that. You know, Angela might be able to do. Anyway, so they sit down and they're talking. They start talking about Britt, you know, and Angela is just saying, like, she just hopes that Britt can just show some growth eventually. You know, she just kind of, you know, she's kind of childish, you know, this whole thing with Kenya and then the way she acted at the luncheon the other day. You know, Angela's just like, maybe she'll grow up. And Drew was just like, oh, speaking of her, you know, she actually sent me a text message, you know, saying that maybe we got off on the wrong foot and that we need to go out. And Drew said that she's kind of keeping her on the back burner for now. Okay. I said, oh, it must feel so good for Drew to finally have moved out of that rookie lineup and now to be kind of considered an actual full-blown housewife. I mean, she's been a housewife. She wasn't ever a friend. She was a housewife, but it just feels like now it feels like Drew is not the new girl anymore. So now Drew is kind of in this new space, you know, so she can tell the new girl that she'll put her on ice for now. She wouldn't have did that shit to Candy or Sheree or Kenya or any of the rest of them. Angela asked Drew, how's the divorce coming along? And Drew was just saying how it's getting very tiresome. You know, she's getting tired of having to leave the house when Ralph has to come upstairs. And, you know, the newest thing now, Ralph wants to unseal the divorce paperwork, and she is working very hard to keep that from being unsealed, you know, because she said that she doesn't want her kids to see that. And I was like, oh really, Drew? Are you concerned about the general public that watches the show every week being able to see this said case as well and wonder exactly what it is that you've been over there doing? Okay, even though she said that, you know, Ralph has done way more than she has done, okay, that still might, I mean, that's all relative, okay? It just depends on the scope of how bad we talking about. Like, is he like horrible and then she's bad, or, you know, so it's like it can be degrees. Everybody could still be bad. Everybody could still be good, I guess, too. But, you know, so, but yeah, she's just saying it's just been difficult. Anyway, so they're talking. They start talking about Portia. This is like what during the show when they do like that split scene. So it's like supposedly the same time that Angela and Drew are having lunch, the other ladies are together at the same time. Okay, so remember that. So, you know, they're talking about Portia. Drew has finally said, you know, they just got to leave it the way it is because Portia has said that she's moving on and that they're going to have to just be able to coexist around each other. It's funny how everybody seems to have gotten over it, but it comes up every fucking week. 7 damn weeks! We still talking about Drew and the superintendent and Portia. Portia swears she don't care. So it's during this time that the other ladies are getting together, remember? So Portia's at that other get together. Portia actually calls Angela while, I guess, well, no, I don't think it's during this time. But we did find out that Angela has been invited to a trip that Portia's going to be talking about soon. And, you know, Drew's not invited, but Angela feels like she should take the bull by the horns and that she should invite Drew. Drew was like, oh no, that's not for me. Okay, I feel like an invite needs to come directly from Portia. And I was like, exactly, Drew. Thank you for thinking straight correctly. Yes, that invite should come from Portia, not from Angela. That adds insult to injury that she is coming to, she's inviting you and she's newer than you. What makes you think that Angela is going to be able to? Hell, Angela and Portia they ain't even really seeing it for each other. So why is Drew stupid enough to think that? And what really frustrates me about this whole thing is, I hate when they do this on this show. You know, this whole, I'm going to invite somebody even though the other person don't like them just to cause mess, but I'm going to make it seem like I'm trying to get these two to talk and create some peace. Okay? We tired of this kind of shit. Everybody that's watched reality shows have seen this 1,000 times over. Why we keep on going down this same road? Why? In real life, don't nobody invite somebody that they don't like to somebody else's fucking party. To the person's party that they don't like that person. Why would you invite that person? Why? Okay? Now, of course, Angela does have a bone to pick with Portia because Portia is trying to, low-key say that Charles is, there's some gossip and some fodder out there about Charles. So that might be why Angela is doing it. But yeah, I don't like this. It's just like, why do you do it? It's so annoying. So annoying. What makes you think Portia wanted? Anyway, I don't want to harp on it. But y'all get what I'm saying, right? Okay. Drew goes from, hell no, I'm not coming to, she gonna think about it. But I was just like, all right, Drew, letting Angela gas you up. Now, the luncheon that I was talking about that the rest of the ladies was at, okay, well, Kelly is at her house with her tragically colored Yorkie. I'm just like, hot pink. I understood the story that she said, that somebody stole the dog, and she got the dog back. It was on Craigslist and all that. So she dyed it this color so nobody else would, hell, if I look at the dog, wouldn't want it. Nobody wants that damn hot pink looking dog. Crazy. But she love her baby, and that's all that matters, child. Anyway, she has the ladies over, Cynthia, even though Cynthia is not a housewife. I guess probably Bravo was so happy to have Cynthia back. Like, maybe just some normalcy. They know that they can count on Cynthia. So they probably was like, okay, thank you, Cynthia, for keeping the peace and the waters calm around here. But in real life, I don't know if I even see Cynthia and Kelly. No. Maybe distant friends, acquaintances and shit, but hanging like this, I don't see it, no. But anyway, okay, so Cynthia's there. Cynthia got confessionals, one-on-ones and everything like she a damn housewife. I was just like, okay. But so does Ralph. Okay, Ralph does have confessionals too. All right, but Ralph is a housewife. Cynthia's not, though. So that's, they're sitting there talking, talking about a man, what they want in a man, how Cynthia's now. She says she's not settling. Apparently, Cynthia's dating some guy. I think he lives in Australia, which leads me to believe that he's a white guy. She has not, she said that she's learned with Peter and, I cannot think of what I used to call her husband. What was it, you guys? Quick, somebody put it in the comments. What did I used to call that damn thing? Oh, I'm so mad. Anyway, she said she's learned from Peter in that one. Mike, whatever I used to call him. All right. So now this one, she keep it on a low profile. I said, oh, you don't want us to see old, give me a white name. You don't want to see old Phil. You don't want us to see Phil. Jason. You don't want us to see him. Yes, I believe that Cynthia has given up the Lamontes and the Marquaviuses of the world. Then Portia gets there, and Shamia gets there. And, Portia's just telling them that she has this trip that she is planning for Nashville for her birthday. It's also kind of like I think she said it has something to do with her go naked hair too. So she's kind of like combining the two. They all going to Nashville, all her girls, she's inviting all the ladies, except for, Drew. Even though she continues to tell us that she's over it, she's moved on, that she don't care, that she already told, Dennis how she felt about it and all that, and she don't care, 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 and she don't care. Oh, I'm sorry. I must have got stuck on the same thing over and over. Kind of like how Portia keeps on. Girl! If you don't care, quit talking about it. Okay? But I guess, what else we gonna do? Portia, you notice Portia, we can't even get Portia in a scene in the fucking bedroom. Every time you see Portia, she at somebody's house, she at a restaurant, she out somewhere. I said, boy, that Simon Shaw did throw the Real Housewives for a loop, didn't he? They got Portia all over the fucking place. Yeah, they going to Nashville. Portia's trip. She said she's invited some other ladies to Manetta. I was just like, wow, that's interesting to invite Manetta. Wasn't Manetta a housewife last year? They acted like we ain't never heard of Manetta at all, ever. Was she a housewife last year, or was she? Maybe she wasn't. But I feel like she was. Was she? And I was just like, child, how y'all say, oh, and I'm going to have my friend, someone named Manetta. I mean, she didn't say that, but she might as well have. Girl, we know who Manetta is. So, yeah, that's what's going on over there. Remember I was telling you they had, like, all these weird little parts that was edited. So, for example, the part when they had Angela talking about her nose job and how it had got botched and she had to redo it and all of that. Okay. And then they also had like Cynthia and Portia talking about their divorce. So they had a whole bunch of quick little 2-minute scenes like that. Kelly showing her daughter how to drive. Did you guys notice that? Okay. So there's really nowhere to put that in there. So that's a little weird edited scenes that will just drop in right here. Now, since we were talking about Drew so much, let's talk about Drew. Okay. First, we see Drew go to, it looks like they maybe went to dinner with, Drew went to dinner with Britt. I guess she finally decided to take her off of that back burner and meet her up and to see if they can extend the arm of friendship towards one another. If Drew didn't feel like she graduated to full housewife status during this dinner, then I know something. Because, honey, you could tell the way that Drew was talking to Britt that she feels superior to the new girls. Okay? Those expressions that she was making, the way that she was like, the same way that she kind of talked to Sonya. See, she kind of looked at Sonya as her equal, which means that she didn't respect Sonya the same way that she did the rest of the ladies. Okay, so that's why her and Sonya could never really get it together, because Drew felt like she was her competition, like she was her equal. Well, now that she got Britt, honey, she just looking at Britt and she just telling, I mean, the stuff that she was telling Britt probably made sense, but I just felt like Drew was, I just was like, this is not something that Drew normally would do. Drew says that she just wants to know, you know, she just wants Britt to keep it real about her past. So she tells her, ask her about, you know, porn work. Like, had she ever done porn work? And Britt was like, no. Okay. The explanation that we got now, it's a little bit further deepened explanation. Says that when she was 20 years old, she never did porn, but she did do some webcam footage with a young girl of hers, you know, a friend of hers, around the same age. You know, they was dibbling and dabbling. It wasn't porn, it was just webcam. Okay. I said, yeah, that's called home porn. It's still porn, girl. If you put it out there for the general consumption. Maybe it wasn't out there for the general consumption. Maybe it just got out there. Whatever. But just Drew talking the way that Drew was asking her about it. You know, I was just sort of like, oh, Drew, you know, look like you kind of throwing the rock and hiding your hand. I mean, do we need to be looking into what Drew been doing out there? Is that the reason why you want these damn files sealed up? Who done got in them files? I'm sure they unsealed by now. Yeah, what they saying? I don't know. It just felt like she was like sunning Britt a little bit. You know, when she was talking about being in the blogs, and you know, she was like, you know, I've been in the blogs before too, and I know how it can be and all. You know, I just felt like she felt superior. But she said that she does understand how Britt feels, and she felt like her character has been compromised a lot as well, untruthfully so. So, you know, she can understand where Britt is coming from. So she's trying to be there for Britt. So I guess this is considered, these two are now cool, since Britt had said at the lunch that she hadn't been able to talk to the ladies and get her side across. So maybe now Britt and Drew are okay. I could do without either one of them, honestly, child. But Britt maybe a little bit less. Now, later on, we get to see the day in the life of Drew when her and Ralph actually have to go to court. Okay? And they are both at the house, both about to get ready to go to court. And you can tell there's tension there. Drew is very adamant that she wants Ralph to have to move out of the basement. She's tired of this leaving on the weekend, you know, leaving on the the other spouse having to leave when the other one is there, and she wants to keep her case sealed. Ralph is fine with getting it unsealed, even though Drew will tell you that Ralph has way more stuff on there happening than she does. You know, apparently women, you know, reaching out to her, him cheating, him disappearing, him abandoning the family, him this, that, and the other. So they go to court. 20 minutes later, you know, it's all quiet. Real Housewives of Atlanta, they be killing me when they don't have no music in the background. That's when you know they trying to be real serious but kind of shady at the same time. So like you see them walking out, Ralph and his people, they kind of got a pep in their step, kind of bubbly. You know, they talking, they getting on the elevator, everything is good. And then you see Drew with her people. And yeah, it didn't work out quite for Drew. Drew didn't get nothing. Ralph continues to stay down in the basement. We are unsealing the documents of this case, and she didn't get nothing that she wanted, and so she's very upset about that. Nothing she can do about it other than roll down the window and just call him an idiot. Like, he was over there with his people, and she was just like, you know, you're an idiot. You're a whole idiot for that. Okay, you an idiot. You an idiot. I was like, girl, I know you just want to jump out that car and go run over there and just jump on that nigga, don't you? Don't do that. But Ralph looked like he looked quite, he's in shape. All right. But girl, I know how you feel. And he kind of had like a little smirk on his face and everything. Ralph says there's a lot of misconceptions and misrepresentations and just a lot of misses when it comes to him. People think of him one way when he really is not that way. He's a good dude, he says. Okay. And he knows that the truth always prevails. So there's that. Maybe we will one day find out just how great of a person that Ralph is. Anyways, this trip. Okay, Portia.
So, you know, we need a good goddamn trip somewhere. So we going to Nashville, and it should be a good time. I have all my good girlfriends coming. Everybody that I love on and love on me. I have handpicked everybody that's going to be here. So if you come and you stress me out, I'm going to cut your ass out.
So come on and let's begin the celebrations. So we see all the ladies, they get to the airport, you know, they get on the plane, they fly on down there, they get their luggage, they get on the bus. Same shit that we have seen the Housewives do countless times, okay? Of course, like every other time, there's always one that misses the flight. This time it would be Angela, okay? Dab nabbit, the new girl, the one that most people don't like, but specifically today, Portia don't like Angela. So girl, you about to get the worst room. I mean, it's already written in the books. Hell, when they got on the damn bus, Portia didn't even realize. She was just like, I didn't even realize that the girl wasn't even at the plane. So, you know, they're talking. I thought it was pretty interesting. It tells you how far that the Housewives have come, that they are all on this bus and they're all talking about plastic surgery like it's no big deal. You know, and it's not no big deal. So it's like, and it's always evident when the ladies have work done. So it's always surprising to me that they try to act like they didn't get any work done. You know, so that back in the day, just maybe 5 seasons ago, I mean, that might have been an argument when plastic surgery came up. People might have been trying to avoid shit and everything. Now today, Portia was just like, I ain't getting no more than these niggas. She didn't say niggas, but I know she wanted to.
These niggas out here do not deserve bigger titties.
I said, girl, them titties look just fine. I don't know not one man that would kick you out of bed. Okay? If we was just going by pure physicality, child, please, I'm titty fine. Anyway, they get to the house, and you know, it's an Airbnb house, but the house is really, really nice. I was like, oh, it's probably not going to have any bad rooms. Okay, but anyway, they get there. There's a man there with drinks. They got the chef there. You know, he tell them he prepared a whole spread for them. You know, it's all very, very nice. And so Cynthia was just like, okay, well, where's our rooms? Because Cynthia's old school. Okay. And Portia was just like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess we can do the rooms first. So, you know, everybody, the rooms is all real nice, so we don't have to worry about it. So we can go around, you know. So everybody following Portia around the house, and she's showing the rooms. And for the most part, all the rooms are nice. Okay, all the rooms are nice, I'll say that. Of course, when you go to an Airbnb like this, there's always going to be a room or two where they consider it was going to be for like the kids or the teenagers, you know. So usually those rooms have more than one bed in there, bunk beds and that. So this is going to be the same thing. So of course they're walking around this house and it's huge and all, and it's got all these masters and all, which means that they're probably going to have rooms like that for the kids. And so somebody's going to end up in that room, you know. And, you know, Portia, first she walked by the basement. She was just like, hey, Drew, that's room for Drew. You know. Portia, don't be that way. But, you know, they show them the rooms. Everybody picks out their room. Shamia got a room and all that. And then there's a room that has the bunk bed, you know. So they're like, that's probably going to be where Angela ends up. But I was like, no, there's other options. There's another room that has like 6 beds in there. I think that's where... where Kelly, Cynthia, and Britt ends up in that room. But we get past that, you know. So they go back downstairs, they go and eat, and they sit around, they talking. And, you know, somebody asked Portia, like, you know, how's it been with the divorce? I know it's been pretty difficult. And Portia said that it has been very hard because the last 3 years, you know, she's been celebrating her birthday with her husband. Their birthdays are only like 20 days apart. You know, so they would always celebrate their birthdays together, and now it just feels a little... I said, yeah, that's the thing with divorce, Portia. You know, we're still waiting on Angela to get there. Angela hasn't made it, but she's on her way. The reason why she wanted to go out of town so she can have a good vibe with her girls, you know, because she just loves having a good time with her girls. And Cynthia was like, yeah, except that all the time it don't always be a good vibe with the girls, especially with these group of ladies. You know. Britt was like, yeah, like that bitch Angela. Okay, always switching up. You see how she was at the lunch the other day talking about that damn insurance license and blopty blue, you know. So now, again, Britt has switched her fixation from Kenya to Angela. Oh, she's so tiring. Right while they're talking about Angela, then, of course, you know, Andy sends her on in. Okay, so she comes on in. She's like, I know they was talking about me. Yes, girl, they was. So, you know, she sits down with them and all, and we having drinks and eating and having a nice little chat and everything. And then Angela tells Portia that she's invited Drew. And Portia was just like,
girl, no, you did not just come up in here, then you gonna tell me you invited my enemy, like you invited Drew? Like, how you just gonna come in? You gonna bully me on my birthday?
Yeah, that's kind of how it feels. I was irritated about it. I done already told you guys. I was just like, Angela, I know the producers made Angela do this. I know this is not, because even she don't seem like she would be messy enough to do something like this. There's no place where you feel that you make a decision on somebody else's trip. This ain't even just a party. This is a whole fucking birthday trip that you invited somebody. Yeah, nobody's doing that. Kelly was just like, you don't do this. You know, Cynthia, this is exactly the wrong road. Shamia was just like, no, not a good idea.
Who does this kind of thing?
The producers. You can thank them. Side note, I was looking at Britt. I know I wasn't the only one that was like, she looks like Nicki Minaj when Nicki Minaj doesn't have any makeup on. And was I the only person that was getting that? Every time she came up in that scene in particular, I just kept on looking at her. I was like, she looks just like Nicki, not just, but she looks a lot like she could be related to Nicki Minaj. When Nicki Minaj don't have all her makeup and her lashes and her face is just kind of clean and all, they look like they could be related. Anyway, Portia says she gonna get past this whole thing with Drew coming. She's going to be the bigger person. So after that, you know, Portia tells all the ladies to go and get, you know, freshened up and all that, make their calls, do what they need to do. You know, they're going to go out to eat later. So everybody goes to their rooms. I guess Angela's going to share the rooms with the ladies up in where they have the more beds. You know, she calls Charles and then she calls Drew and tells her, like, the coast is clear, basically. Okay. Now, we saw Drew when Angela called her and Drew was actually out. And so I was hoping that meant that Drew thought better of it and decided that she wasn't going to go on this trip. But no, she's just postponed it. She's not leaving until the next day because she has to celebrate that she got an album deal. Okay, so she's out celebrating with the superintendent. I said, that's probably going to come up when she get out there to that fucking Nashville, child. Anyway, you know, Drew was saying that Drew tells Angela that she had a very hard day in court, you know, so she just has to really, she needs to laugh and she needs to make sure she protects her peace. I said, girl, if you need to protect your peace, and you are coming to the absolute wrongest place to go. Why would you go around these ladies knowing that they are going to protect nothing that looks like your peace? Nothing. Okay, and you weren't invited. You weren't even invited. So, you know, they go out, they get all dressed up, they go out, they pick up the other ladies, Manetta too. I was like, damn, we didn't even get a hey girl, hey Manetta, hey girl, how you used to be. Like, we remember you from last season. Like, they act like Manetta did not ever even have nothing to do with the franchise. I was just like, the shade. The shade. She also picked up her sister. Her sister was with Manetta and some other girl, or two or a couple of other girls as well. So they go to the bar. It looks like they're gonna do like bar hopping, which there's a lot of that to do in downtown Nashville. When me and Mr. went last year, I was just like, I ain't never seen so many white people just outside drinking, just partying, country music and white folks. And so, anyway, Portia's still going on and on about Angela.
I don't know about the Angela. Like, I thought, you know, I thought she was going to be calm, demure. But she is not. She is stressful.
Angela just feels like Portia should have said no on FaceTime, which Portia should have said. But Angela also should not have invited Drew. But Angela is not doing this. This is the producers. This is the kind of shit that happens that makes you not like the Housewives. The Housewives have to be the one to deal with the backlash from the viewers, but really it's the producers that make them do this, because I don't even think Angela would do, like, nobody would do this. So, you know, this is just more conflict for Portia to have when Drew gets there, I guess. You know, the ladies are all laughing about it. I heard something about, you know, a blowjob. You know, Drew was giving Dennis a blowjob or something along those lines, you know, and Portia was just like,
well, you know, I don't know, because that's his thing. You know, we can be out and he can be like, she gave me a blowjob, she gave me a blowjob, she gave me a blowjob, she gave me a blowjob.
I mean, it very easily could be Drew as well, but yeah. We'll see what this trip turns out to be when Drew and Portia hit. But I'm tired of the Drew and Portia fight. It's so like nobody cares. I would have been more vested in a fight with Portia and Shamia, something that really has some substance to it. Nobody cares about Portia and Drew. Make sure that you thumbs up the video, comment, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm Roxanne. The channel is It's Rox. Everything else I do will be in the bottom bar. All right. So I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day, and I plan on doing the same. Until next time, Roxstars. Bye.